S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 release has been upon us. There's been some really good things, but there's also been a few glaring issues. Today we're going to fix those with some new mods. We're going to be adding a ton of quality of life features, we're going to be fixing optimization and getting better frame rate, also changing some underlying features that'll make your playthrough much smoother, and even deep diving into some additional settings you can add to your game. This is the top 10 mods for S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. What's up world, it's Utopia back in with another video. Today we're checking out all things S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. So let's just jump right into it. We'll get into how to actually install these mods. First off, there's two different sections for there, technically a third. I'm going to run down very simply so that you can see how to actually install these mods once you do get them, and I'm going to link to them down below each individually. Now for the first category of mods, these are the pack files, or labeled PAK. Now all of these mods, or most of these mods, will work for both the Game Pass version and the regular Steam version, so don't worry there. And you can also do all of this for both versions. Now the simplest way to get started with pack mods is to actually locate where your game is stored. Now this could be very well dependent on which drive you have it installed on or any custom file location. Now Steam is going to be the easiest method to find your files. You simply just right click on whatever game you'd like to locate and then go under properties. After that next pop-up, you'll click on installed files and you'll see a section where it says browse in the top right. Upon clicking on that, it's going to send you to the game's location and file structure. For the Xbox and Windows Game Pass version, in the recent update with the Xbox app, they actually did add a fairly simple way to do this, where you can right click on S.T.A.L.K.E.R and head to manage and then click on files at the top and then browse. That is at least going to send you to the directory on where the game is located. You then will have to head into where it says S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 or where that is actually in. However, for this case, it's going to be under S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, and then you're going to have to click into content to get into the actual file structure there. Now, once there for both game files and both game sections, Steam and Windows, you will head into S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 folder and then head into content and you will see the packs folder. Go ahead and load that up and click into it. Now upon downloading a packs mod, you will need to create a new folder called mods. However, this will have to have a squiggly line in front of it and then the mods. Some keyboards, including mine, don't really have this key, so I will include a little copy-paste version in my description if you want to do that. But however, just right-click and create a new folder in that directory. Upon doing so, you will then rename it to this mods with the squiggly line in front. You can then place all mods that are pack structured or .packs into this mod folder. There is also one other mod structure here, which is to do any file edits. Now sometimes a mod will have both a pack file as well as just an any update, or essentially an engine configuration that you can change. Now how to locate that is to actually type into your search bar %appdata%. Upon heading to that location, it might put you into roaming, so back out to the other file structure and then go into local. In there you should see a folder named S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. Clicking into that folder, you'll then click into saved and config. I believe this is labeled differently for the non-Steam version, but because I have Game Pass, it's WinGDK. I believe for the Steam version, it is labeled Windows. Heading into that file structure, you can see a file called GameUserSettings.ini. And when you open that one up there, there's going to be a bunch of settings here. Now I'll go over these with the mods when they do contain this and just kind of show you where to put that. Or first up, since we have this folder open already, or at least if you did follow along, we'll talk about this mod first, which is disabling mouse smoothing. Now this was done by Wolf Woman. Although it's just a simple line of text that you can add to these ini files. This usually works for most games, but essentially it is enable mouse smoothing equal false. You're going to add that to the bottom of your file structure here under script and engine. And you can hit Control S or save in the top left, and then you'll have that mouse smoothing disabled. This is a game setting that is not able to be disabled, which is kind of unfortunate, but that is your first easy mod here that you can do quite simply. Next up here, since we have this already open, and this also is a pack file mod, so you can do one or the other if you want to just add this to the ini folder, or if you do actually want to add this as a pack file, there is this mod here called No Shader Warmup. Just like Hogwarts Legacy, after the first time of the shader compilation, it really doesn't need to do it anymore. This thing is so long, especially when you reboot your game. Now you will need to reinstall your shaders if you do a driver update, so you will have to eventually remove this mod if you have a driver update or you will have severe stuttering. However, if you're all up to date there, you can easily install this mod and it will save you several minutes. Mine takes forever, even with an NVMe, which is my Samsung 970 EVO drive. So a pretty fast drive there, and it still takes forever. Again, not sure why developers add this, or at least they don't have some detection thing there, as most of the time it only needs to do it the first time on load. Now, since we're already in the ini files directories, or the files for that, you will now head to the engine ini file. and you will add this line at the bottom. Now you will need to add this section entirely, the system settings and all, as there is no category for it within the settings. However, adding this subsection and hitting Ctrl S or saving it will actually apply this mod. You can also simply download the pack file from the file section and then open up the WinRAR file and drag and drop it into the mods folder. So either of those methods, both of those will work for this mod. Not sure how to pronounce this one, but this mod was made by Zantazukin. Again, links to everything and credit down below. Next up here, we have some more optimization mods. So this one is fairly simple as well, but this is in a different location. This is to update your FSR, your DLSS, and your XESS, as those are not up to date currently within the game. Now this modifier, or this person that uploaded this, Velasquez, did actually show examples for each AMD, NVIDIA, and Intel where the file structure is at. So I'll use mine for example, where I have NVIDIA and DLSS. If we go back to the top of the S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 file structure, we're going to now head into the engine folder. We're then going to go into plugins, marketplace, DLSS, binaries, third party, and Win64, where you will see your DLSS.dll file. You'll essentially take what they have uploaded here and replace it into there. That's going to update your DLSS, and I did get a few more frames with this, so pretty cool overall there. Speaking of upscalers, we do have this next one by the Hybrid. Now this is to clear TAA, or make TAA clearer. Now you won't need this for DLSS, as DLSS already has a decent TAA built in, especially if you are using DLAA. More than likely you're not going to need this mod with DLSS or if you have NVIDIA. However, if you're using FSR or XESS, this will help modify and clear that up. This again is going to be located in your INI files. Because more than likely you've already made engine tweaks, you can actually just open up the files that he has here, or the modded files, and then right click, copy, paste everything into your subsection there. You'll essentially add everything he has here under these script, engine, and rendering settings. So that way you don't have to replace your engine files, you just replace the text overall. Next up here we do have a pack mod. This is to sell broken stuff by Stalker Boss. So if anything does break, you can actually still sell it to vendors for some currency. A decent one there. Again, it's a pack mod, so easy to install. We do have another performance fix here, as well as a stuttering issue. This is again a pack mod. However, people have said this doesn't work for Game Pass, at least the Game Pass version, so I'm not able to test it currently. However, if you're not able to get the Game Pass version, I'm going to include a link to the other one. So the first one here is done by VinGFX. If you want a Game Pass version, or a way if you do have a Game Pass to get some lower latency and to help with the stuttering issue, at least if you are experiencing that, I'm going to include a link to this one where there's some more engine INI tweaks that you can do yourself by just copy pasting this into your engine INI file location. That should then help with those stutterings, and again you just need to copy paste all this and throw that in there and it should work overall. For this one though specifically, you're probably going to want to rewrite all of your engine INI settings and then add the other ones after, as this does add a lot of modifiers and its own settings, so you're going to want to replace basically everything, or just directly download the engine INI file and put it into your file structure. Now this one is one I've been using since near the start of the game, which is the all-in-one mod. It has infinite carry weight, infinite durability, free repair, and more. There's a lot of things you could download with this one. There's also low mutant health, which I've added. There's stamina cost reduction for jump and sprint. I've also added the option here to tweak repair prices, even sell damaged gear as we saw earlier, and there's the weightless ammo and health. I've added a bunch of these. You can go through and pick which files you would like to add. Some of them do conflict with each other, so you will have to be wary on that, but overall this does make the gameplay way more streamlined and fun. Some people like to have a confined inventory system where they have to actually put in work to manage that. I myself do not. I just want a lot of carry weight and be able to carry whatever I want. So if you're like me, you could download this mod and add a bunch of other stuff, and also decrease the bullet sponges for the mutants that have just been able to be tanky, very, very tanky at least. That all-in-one mod was done by S.T.A.L.K.E.R. Speaking of modifying the game, as we're changing now course to this section, I've really enjoyed this one too. McLean's better gunfights essentially makes it so that the NPCs aren't actually aimbots. What will make the game just a little bit, I guess, easier, quote unquote, but it also just makes it so that you don't get sniped out of nowhere. This may be a personal preference with this one, but I really do like this one, and I felt that it made the gunplay a little bit more fun. Next up here, this has been a major requested feature. I even covered this in the GSC answer part of my last video, but this is a mod called Jake's Longer Days. Now he has some additional modifiers here where he does add a few other things like the carry weight mod and the stamina mod. However, overall the Jake's Longer Days is really good to just increase it by whatever amount you want. You can have a 1.5 hour cycle, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, and etc. You have a ton of choices here all the way from 1.5 to 4x. And again, you only place the one that you want into your mods folder. Those will be signified per the download, and this mod was created by Jake Kingsley. Next up here we have a quality of life mod, and this was favored in Starfield, which is the no dialogue zoom. Now this one currently worked for me at first, but then when I went to get footage it didn't work for me. Some players might have issues with it as it currently depends on your FOV, as I play at 103 for nearly every single game. Where if you don't play it in the between there like a 103 or 104, if you play it like a 100 or a 110, this should work just fine. There is a bunch of different FOV selections here, so depending on what FOV you have, that will depend there. This mod was created by the QoL. Last up here, it wouldn't be a mod video without UEVR. Now, I tried desperately to get this mod to work. Currently, I'm having some issues with it. I wanted to have it done in time for this video, but I had some router mishaps and things like that. So I'm going to work on that in the background, but I will include links to both a quick start guide on how to get this working, as well as LuncheonVR's profile that is helping with head tracking and some fixes there. He has a really good guide for UEVR. In fact, I used this originally when I first was trying it out. So I'll include links down below so you can download his head tracking profile as well as the UEVR guide. Overall, it should about cover for today's video. If you like, subscribe, and until the next one, deuce!